You're all set.
Thanks, Stephanie. Good morning. Apologies for the slightly late start this morning. I'd like to call to order this January meeting of the Outreach and Engagement Committee. Stephanie, would you please take a roll call?
Yes, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Eva Bermuda Zimmerman has not joined us. Isha Canada will not be joining us. Adrian Cochran.
Present.
Good morning. Sheila Hummel.
Present. Good morning.
Good morning. Molly Weston Williamson
Present.
and Justin Zartman.
Present.
Thank you. We have a quorum.
Thank you, Stephanie. I want to take a moment to acknowledge that I think we may have one or two members of the public joining us today. Thank you for being here. We're glad to have you. Next on our list, and hopefully our chair will join us shortly, but I can pinch hit in the meantime, is review and approval of the November 20th, 2025 meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you, Adrian. Is there any discussion of the motion to approve the minutes from the November meeting? Hearing none, is there a second on the motion?
Second it.
Thank you, Sheila. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstain.
Thank you. Justin abstains.
Yep.
The
was
motion.
absent.
Thank you, Justin. The motion carries. We can move ahead to our outreach and engagement updates, and I'm going to turn it over to Jessica to kick us off.
Thank you, Molly. All right. As always, can I get confirmation that you can see the slides?
We can
Great.
see the screen.
Thank you so much. So as it's our first meeting of the new year, I just wanted to kick it off with a high-level recap of what we did in 2025. And as I was putting this together, I was like, man, this slide just, we've done so much, and it was hard to really distill it down into just kind of some highlights. So, but here are some things that we're really proud of that I just wanted to share with everyone. We attended 68 in-person events over the course of the year. We hosted.
Jess, I'm so sorry, but you're not advancing. So we
Oh,
only see the opening slide.
sorry about that. I wonder why it's advancing on one screen but not other screens.
We're also seeing your sort of
The notes.
in
It's not
slideshow
presenter
mode.
view. We've got the thumbnails on the side.
Yeah.
Ah, you know,
Sorry to interrupt.
let me try sharing this screen instead.
Much better.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's better. Okay. I really can't figure out which screen it's showing. Okay, so now it's advanced to the 2025 recap.
Perfect.
Okay, perfect. Sorry about that. So 68 in-person events over the course of the year. We hosted 29 webinars. A lot of those were in conjunction with the outreach for the school employees coverage. We issued 21 press releases. Nancy produced and released 24 podcast episodes. Nicole conducted 62 new partner meetings, and I really want to just give her kudos for that because if you'll all recall, she was out for 3 months on parental leave. So she really, worked really hard before she left and after she came back. We had 16 news pieces published, many of those from press releases, some also just kind of picked up from different, things that we had going on out in the marketplace. We hosted our first Connecticut Paid Leave sponsored event, our Family Expo, and we produced and released 24 episodes of our 5 Minutes of Impact segment. Taking a look at, I always like to look back at our Google Analytics, even though I look at it monthly, I like to kind of look at a year-over-year recap and sort of see, what changes occurred. So our total website users were just shy of 970,000, which was a 10% increase year over year. This is a great indication to me that more and more folks continue to become aware of our program and seek out information about it. And then total page views were over 11.5 million, and that was over an 8% increase year over year. Top pages, just to give you an idea of what the most popular content is on our website. And I, of course, excluded the homepage just because that is, typically where people will go first. So how to apply and applying for benefits were the top two pages, paid leave and FMLA, employers, and then how to create a ct.gov account. Top pages by, and I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I mentioned, that was by total views. Then top pages by total users, very similar, with the only change being that the coverage and eligibility was also a popular page in terms of total users. And then where are folks coming from? Direct traffic made up over a third of our visits, which again, great indication that we're doing a good job with a lot of our marketing and outreach is just geared toward that top of mind awareness so that when folks do have the need for us, they know who we are, they know our name, and they know where to look for information. So to me, that's a great indication that we're doing a good job of keeping our name out there because over 33% of folks are just directly coming to our website when they need information. Organic search makes up over 28%, and paid search makes up just under a quarter. So again, continues to be important for us to engage in those channels just so that folks who don't have that awareness of exactly who we are able to find us easily when they're searching in Google, etc. And then rounding out the top five, referral was just about 6.5% and paid social over 4%. In terms of our email outreach, we sent 25 messages over the course of the year, and we had over a 52% open rate. So we have been doing about one email per quarter to the different audiences, with some audiences being slightly more frequent. For example, with the legislators, Maddie does those about on a monthly basis, especially during session. But our overall open rate was up 14% year over year. And we had a 5% click-through rate, which is also about 14% up year over year. Our total email database is about 179,000 subscribers. So we added just under 3% year over year of an increase of new folks joining our mailing list. Just to remind you, the different audiences that we reach out to, and we curate the email content based on who this is going to. We have a legislators list, which is legislators and aides, human resources and benefits coordinators, TPAs, employers, sole proprietors and self-employed individuals, private plan employers, and our community partners. I also wanted to highlight something new that Nicole has been heading up, which she started in the middle of December. She has been reaching out to all the towns and cities in Connecticut, all 169 of them. And while initially some of the feedback was, well, we're a municipality, so we don't participate, she pivoted the message to say, but you interact with all the residents in your town and the businesses, and we want to come up with ways to collaborate with you in order to get this important information to your residents and business owners. That's been very successful. So just in about a month's time, she has already met with 23 towns and cities, and the results have been really positive. So some of the things that have come out of that are offers to introduce us to the economic development committees and departments so that we can further engage in conversations to connect with businesses. We've had invitations to present about paid leave at libraries, community centers, and senior centers. Pretty much every town has been willing to place our infographics in their town halls. One thing that I think is really neat is that New Milford asked us if we would do a CT paid leave day where we'll actually be at their town hall, and we'll do 3 informational sessions throughout the day open to residents and business owners. We haven't solidified the date for that yet, but it'll be sometime in the spring. We've also received invitations to present to nonprofit collectives, offers to post on town social media pages, and to do other kinds of social media collaboration. Erin doesn't know yet, but one of those offers was to do a collaboration and a Facebook Live with the town manager of one of our municipalities in Connecticut, connections with chambers of commerce, and offers to table at upcoming community events. So again, just Nicole's not on this call because she's meeting with the new community partner right now. She's hoping to join us in a bit, but I really wanted to shout out her initiative with this and her hard work with it. And then I just wanted to touch on something that Erin mentioned in her CEO update in the board meeting last week, which is that this year we are really going to have a renewed focus on employer outreach. And so there's a lot of different things that will go into this. The plan is still really being kind of fleshed out and solidified. But one thing that I am aiming to start right away is to meet with our 2 CEC chamber members, so Wyndham, which has been a partner, and then the Central Connecticut Chamber, which is one of our new partners, and just do an informational meeting to kind of gather their feedback as the subject matter experts on the business communities of what would be some great ways to connect with businesses? What kind of information could we bring them that would be really valuable, and what would be the best way to deliver that information? Additionally, we have, with the help of our IT team, set up a listserv where we will be starting in the month of, well, I'll be sending it out this month to new businesses. So we'll use the Open Data website to pull a list every month of newly registered businesses with the Secretary of State and to reach out with them, congratulating them on their new business, explaining the Connecticut paid leave requirements, and then also setting up kind of new business onboarding. So we'll be scheduling monthly Connecticut Paid Leave 101 webinars, one for new employers, one for sole proprietors. And the welcome email will promote that those are available. The content will include everything from employer responsibilities, registration, deductions, remittance, notifying employees, and then what to do when an employee applies, the basic tenets of FMLA, and an overview of the website and where to find resources. So the goal is to get these all set up and ready to go and begin executing this in February. So we'll keep you posted on how those go, what kind of attendance we have, etc. And I am happy to answer any questions about any of those updates.
Thank you so much, Jessica. I see Sheila.
Yeah, I just have one comment I'd like to make. On January 22nd, DECD is hosting a webinar with all the 169 towns and cities to talk to them about the Boost program and some of the other small business programs that we do have at DECD. So it sounds like you're doing the same thing, but you're meeting one-on-one with the communities.
Yes.
Did you ever think about doing a webinar?
I think that's an excellent idea. I know that part of the idea behind the outreach was to sort of make sure that folks understood that, there was sort of a direct connection they could have to paid leave, and Nicole being that point of contact. And the one-on-one meetings, though time consuming, have really been yielding some great results. But I love that suggestion. And I think that's a great way that we can, we don't want it to be a one-off, hey, we've had a meeting, we've done one or two things and that's it. So I think this is a great way for us to continue that partnership and that outreach by organizing something. And Sheila, I'd love to connect with you offline just to hear more about how you guys are organizing that and, what kind of outreach you've done to the municipalities to get them to attend.
We were able to get from OPM, Martin Heff from OPM, a list of all the CEOs, CFOs, and some of the COGs too, the email addresses. So I can share that list.
That would be amazing. Thank you.
This way, right now we have about 50 municipalities signed up. We're going to do another email blast today. So we're hoping to at least get 100. Our goal is to get 100, but this way we can get the word out to a lot of different people. So this way, when businesses go to them, they can say, hey, you should reach out to, DECD about the Boost program, or be a little more educated on what the state has, because they're usually the first point of contact when it comes, especially their economic development person with businesses. So we can see how it goes.
Yeah, thank you so much. I would love that email list. I know I can hear Nicole cheering in my head, like she'll be very excited to have that. But thank you for sharing that. I think that's a great model and definitely something that I think we can execute as well.
Okay. No, you're welcome.
Thanks so much, Sheila. Other questions or flags for Jessica? Okay, in that case, I think next up is hearing from Virginia and then Nancy.
Hello. Let me share my screen. Okay, can everyone see my slides?
Yes,
Yes,
we
we
can
can,
see your
thank you.
screen.
Okay, perfect. So I'm just going to give a brief update about the Community Education Coordinators Initiative so far. As you all know, 2025 is over, but we're still waiting for final reports, which are due on January 31st. So this allows a month to gather data for the final quarterly reports. But I just want to give a brief summary of what some of the work has been done so far by our CECs. So as of quarter 3, at the end of quarter 3, over 460 events, workshops, trainings have been either attended or hosted by CECs. So this includes like luncheons with businesses, hosting office hours, attending community events, going to farmers markets, hosting workshops, hosting trainings, going to orientations. So really our CECs have been doing a lot of effort with outreach and trying to meet as many people as possible, as many different groups as possible, whether it's businesses, employers. Some of them have been working with schools so they can get information to parents. So that's another one where they attend like PTA meetings. So trying to reach as far as possible to get Connecticut paid leave information available to everyone. And with that, over 326 people have received application assistance in total. So the majority have been women, I would say about like 70%. But here's a few data points for you. Most of them, 38.65%, have been for medical leave. 39.57% were for caregiver leave. And then 18.1% were for bonding leave. So the majority have been those 3 items, with a smattering of a few for all the other leave reasons. So once we get the final quarterly reports, we'll have a more detailed report on the breakdown of demographics and the kind of like the industries a lot of these workers are coming from. We've been collecting that kind of data. Also, how many, like if they work for more than one employer, the towns that the towns that they live in. So you'll see a more like demographic information once we get the final report in. And just for 2026, this is the current new program year roadmap. Last year in December, we initiated contracts and we did onboarding meetings with the 3 new CECs. And this is including the RFP process that we did last year too. And then starting this year in January, we are currently doing our Connecticut paid leave training. So we're in the middle of that right now. Actually, today we have a session later in the afternoon for the second week. And like I said, final reports for 2025 for our original 7 contractors are due at the end of this month. And so the beginning of January, this will be the beginning of the contract period. So the contract period is from January 1st to the end of December 31st. So it's shorter from last year, which was a 15-month period contract, and this year's a 12-month. And that's because we decided to streamline the training process and the onboarding process. In February, we will be hosting our in-person training. So last year, after we did 3 months of online training, we hosted an in-person training in January. So we're going to be doing the same thing, where we'll have the opportunity for the CECs and all new staff for like the original CECs to attend, get hands-on experience with learning how to use the application system, how to register businesses. They'll also have an opportunity to work with our benefits team to discuss like how to talk about claims, and our outreach team about how we discuss Connecticut paid leave at events. So it'll be very hands-on, very busy. Last year went really well. We got really positive feedback for that. So this year we'll be following the same model for that. And then during the year, we'll be hosting monthly CEC meetings with the CECs. This is an opportunity for them to provide updates on what they've been doing, also to share like lessons learned, any issues that have come up. We also share information with them on things that may be pertinent to them. Sometimes it's like webinars that are coming up, due dates, things like that. And then they'll be doing quarterly reporting for 2026. And then the program year will close out on December 31st with the last reporting period due January 31st, 2027. So that's what the overview of the program year looks like. So this is the list of our current contractors for 2026. So we have Center for Latino Progress, Community Renewal Team, Make the Road, the New American Dream Foundation, the Alliance to End Sexual Violence, the Southwestern Connecticut Agency on Aging, Windham Region Chamber of Commerce. So those are our original 7 contractors, and we renewed all 7 of those contracts for this year. And then our 3 new contractors are Central Connecticut Chambers of Commerce, the Greater Bridgeport Area Prevention Program, and the Community Action Agency of New Haven. So with these new contractors, we'll have more outreach in new areas, and we'll have another Chamber of Commerce also. So that'll be another resource for reaching out to businesses. After we got the work plans in, I think the next step for us, especially going through this year, is seeing where some of our gaps are in the state, where we have coverage from our 10 CECs and where we may have gaps missing in some of the towns, and see if we can focus, potentially if we do another RFP, a more focused approach on these are the areas we would like organizations to provide services in. So that's a thought for the future. And then just a summary of some of the program updates that we're doing for 2026. So things that we've learned from last year that we want to improve on for this year. So like I said, for the training schedule, we condensed the trainings from a 3-month period into a 1-month period. So that's what we're doing this year. And then the in-person training will be hosted February 6th. We're also streamlining the reporting template. So based on feedback and after using the 2025 reporting form, the quarterly reporting form is updated to streamline and clarify reporting for the CECs. This is also to help reduce some of the burden with reporting. So the way we did it in 2025 is we asked for summarized data from them. So inputting summaries of numbers for the demographics and things like that. But I think from feedback from them, and from reviewing those reports, it's easier for them to input the data itemized rather than summarized, I guess is the best way to put it. I don't go into too much detail, but the point is to allow them to focus more on the work rather than trying to summarize the data and then try to complete the quarterly reportings for us. And this will also help reduce errors. So there's no like counting errors or inconsistencies between summaries of information. And then also, we're also trying to open more channels of information sharing. For example, having a shared spreadsheet of potential events that not only we will be attending, but what all the other CECs are attending, so they can see what their fellow CECs are potentially doing. So there's no duplication of effort in overlapping towns or events or anything like that. And with us, and they can also plan accordingly. And just so you know, we do ask them to provide information on the events they do attend. So the sheet is more like the events they anticipate attending, and then they'll give their final reports of the events they did actually attend in their quarterly reports. And then we'll also continue our monthly meetings with all the CECs so they can share information on their efforts and lessons learned. And additionally, we're also sharing information with them, like our media contacts. We share our outreach materials with them. And then also supporting information that they may need for like application assistance, such as like business contacts or HR contacts, things like that. And then additionally, I don't have this on here, we're also working to integrate the CECs more into our own outreach. So doing a media campaign, sharing the CEC's information for application assistance so more people are aware. We also do this at our events where we have an informational sheet. If anyone requires like hands-on assistance, we have all the contact information or how they could um, schedule an appointment with the CEC to receive that application assistance. So trying to promote that more and referring people to our CECs so they can get that hands-on assistance. And that is my update. Let me know if anyone has any questions.
Thank you,
I'll stop
Virginia,
sharing.
and thank you, Molly and team for stepping in. I am on vacation and there's a time difference here, so apologies for that. But thank you, Virginia. Any questions from folks? I don't see any hands up. We'll pass it over to Nancy for a podcast update. Nancy?
Hi there. Hope you're enjoying vacation, Ava. And Justin, you're in one of my
A
favorite.
little too much, right?
It's okay. And Justin, you're in one of my favorite cities. I did my marathon in San Diego, so I love the Mission District. It's so beautiful there. I am going to share my screen and see if we can. And let me go grab the present. Okay, can everybody see this?
You can see your screen.
Okay, great. So we're going to be updating January and February guests and topics and Buzzsprout stats. And I am really pleased to announce that we passed the 10,000 mark. We have 10,306 downloads and 95 episodes under our belt. So for January, I actually flip-flopped Dr. Erin Nance. She was originally set to be in December, but in December, I interviewed Mental Health Connecticut and spoke with their clinical care coordinator, Patricia Weaver, about mental health in the holidays. So I pushed Dr. Erin Nance up into January. So she's a medical social media influencer. She's quite amazing. And I know Erin follows her as well as I do. She's a New York City hand and orthopedic surgeon. She's a huge influencer on social media, and all of her handles are little misdiagnosed with MISS in the middle. She's the founder of Feel Better, and yes, that's the way to spell it. It's a platform in a social space where health information is shared and it's credible and accessible. And she's also the author of a book, Little Misdiagnosed. And a side note, her brother Kevin dove into a pool and became a paraplegic on her first day of residency in New York City. So she left that residency and kind of became the other side of it, the patient side of it. So she said she has a very compassionate way of dealing with her patients because of her brother Kevin. And actually, Kevin used Connecticut paid leave for bonding leave when they had their first baby. And Dr. Erin Nance has over 857,000 TikTok followers and over 150 million views. And this can really help us expand our views with influencers like Dr. Erin Nance. And I think I'm going to continue trying to use influencers to help push the initiative out and get a broader audience. The second guest, and she was just posted on Monday, so please go listen to this podcast. She's so funny and she's just really wonderful, and she's a storyteller, and that's her superpower. And she does a lot of really wonderful things talking about women and healthcare. The next guest that will be coming out in January is Megan Scholar. She is, because it's the 4th anniversary of Connecticut paid leave having benefits, I found her book, Getting Paid While Taking Time, The Women's Movement and the Development of Paid Family Leave Policies in the United States. And she was super willing to have a conversation about paid leave and why the US remains the only industrialized country in the world without paid family leave at the national level. She also discussed the importance of these policies locally and in states. She's also written about paid leave in the Hill and the Washington Post, and her most recent book is Chasing Equality, Women's Rights, and U.S. Public Policy. She wrote that in 2023. She is a big fan of Connecticut paid leave. When I reached out to her, I sent her some links to listen to the podcast. And when we finished the podcast, she's like, I've been listening to your podcast. I really love them. They're really interesting. And I have subscribed. So that's fantastic. I was really excited about that. And she's just really delightful. The picture is of Ellie Doyle and I in the podcast studio. Ellie is also a social media influencer. Her family lived in Florida where she started becoming a social media influencer. And on a sidebar, her family has a history of kidney disease, and her sister needed a transplant, and Ellie gave her sister one of her kidneys. So after recovering, the family decided that they were going to move to Connecticut. She's had ties to Connecticut. Her family used to come to Cheshire when she was a kid. But she used her social media to talk about why her family was moving from Florida to Connecticut and her reasons, and it went viral. Many were because of schooling, banning books in Florida, etc. And Ellie was featured in several articles in local papers when she decided to make this move, and it was such a viral episode. So they also interviewed her on some TV stations locally. And when they moved to Connecticut, we reached out to Ellie, and she's so happy about having these family-friendly programs like Connecticut Paid Leave. And she said, if I want to grow my family, my husband can take time away from work and he can bond with our babies. So, and she just got on a new list of content creators in the state that just happened this week. It was in the news on Monday. It's called ctcollab.com, and it lists all the social media influencers because of the importance of what they do and their reach. And Ellie was just great. She brought her own tripod. She was filming the whole thing. So I know that she's going to be putting that out on her social media. So I think that's a wonderful way for us to share information. And she was so positive, and she really loves Connecticut Paid Leave. She's really happy she's in a state that has so many family-friendly programs available to them. The next guest that will be in February is Vicky Shabo. She works at New America. She's a gender equity expert, a policy strategist, coalition builder, and she's helped to win paid family and medical leave and pregnancy fairness policies all over the US. And she founded and directed an entertainment-focused initiative that Jessica and I found, Rescripting Gender, Work, Family, and Care, and working to resource TV, film, and pop culture creators with the information they need to tell more authentic and aspirational stories about work, family justice, gender equity, caregiving, which would be one of ours, and an inclusive economy. Well, all of them would be ours. But she was fantastic and just a wealth of information, and why the power of, TV, film, and pop culture, why it's so important to get those stories told. So that is coming up in February. I was just so happy. We made 10,000 in 2025, and so we continue to just keep growing, and I'm just thrilled about it. And here are some more stats in the 2025 stats. The episode's published, it's 24, it's not really 25. And we've had 4 years of podcasting. We're in the top 50 of all Buzzsprout podcasts. Last year we had 3,985 downloads. We reached 93 countries. We had 727 minutes of content. Of the 93 countries, the US, Germany, and Singapore were the top three. And of the 1,108 cities that we grabbed, Bristol, Hartford, and New Haven were the most popular that we reached in 2025. And as always, you can find the podcast on our website, our YouTube, and all platforms that you find podcasts like Apple or Spotify or Google, anywhere you find them. But please like and subscribe and please share. And as always, thank you for your support. We appreciate it.
Thank you,
If you
Nancy, and congrats on the impressive stats with you and the team. Very cool, 10,000, impressive. Any comments or questions for Nancy? I see nothing, but thank you again, Nancy. Keep up the good work. We're
Thank
going to
you.
pass it back over to Jessica to talk about our day-long employer seminar. Jessica.
Thank you. All right, did I do this properly? Can you see the
We see a calculator, and now we're seeing, yep, now you're on your slide
perfect?
deck. Okay.
All right, great. So what I want to share today is an idea that we have for another Connecticut Paid Leave hosted event. So as we all know, we did our Family Expo in the fall, and what I failed to mention in my updates is that Nicole has secured our date for 2026. It will be in October again, and it will be in New Haven this year. So this is another idea for a Connecticut Paid Leave hosted event that we would like to do. And the idea is to host a leave management conference. The thought is that this will be open to employers, HR folks, and business owners throughout the state who want to learn more about leave in Connecticut and not just Connecticut paid leave, but really all aspects of the leave management process. We were thinking to have this as a one-day event, which would run a full day, 7 to 3. And the location that we identified that we'd like to host this is the Courtyard Hotel in Cromwell. We did receive quotes from 4 different venues throughout the state. And we identified this as the place we'd like to hold it because not only was it the most cost effective of the quotes that we received, but it's also centrally located and it has really great parking. So we wanted to make sure that we made it very easy for folks to attend. We also are interested in exploring a partnership with the Connecticut SHRM, Society of Human Resource Managers, to offer credits for attending. I know that Department of Labor's Business Engagement Unit has been able to do this to offer credits for their seminars. So we would, talk with them and kind of see what process they went through and then try to do the same thing. Our target date for this event is September 16th, 2026. The reason that we chose this time of the year is that both SHRM and CBIA's Human Resources Conference are both held in the spring. So we didn't want to compete with those events. Summertime is obviously tough just because of people being on vacation, kids being off from school, and then we wanted to stay away from the winter just because of the risk of inclement weather and having to have a snow date, etc. So that's how we settled on the September date. Our goals for this event, first and foremost, education. So really providing, as we've talked about, at length in our committee and our board meetings, there really is, a lot of misunderstanding about paid leave versus FMLA, not to mention the other related leave laws like the ADA, some different laws regarding, pregnancy and folks returning to work post childbirth. And just really how to manage all of those different things and giving people the basic understanding they need to make sure that they are doing what they need to do for their employees, and also doing it in, a compassionate way. We have a lot of research and information about the benefits of employers really helping streamline the leave experience and how that results in greater employee retention, which has, of course, many benefits for the businesses. So first and foremost, we want to just provide that education. Secondly, relationships. So building and strengthening relationships with partners, both partners we currently work with and new partnerships we'd like to develop by inviting them to speak and train others in areas of their subject matter expertise. And then third, collaboration. So really creating a space where professionals can share best practices, build community and network. And again, we really, as I think you all know, we strive to really position ourselves as a state agency that is very approachable, that we know this is a law and folks have to abide by it, but we want to give them all the tools that they need to be able to do it successfully. And we want them to know that we are approachable and we are there to help them as they navigate our program. Just some potential partners that we brainstormed, some state agencies, including Department of Labor and the Commission on Human Rights and Opportunities, chambers of commerce, potentially CBIA, and as I mentioned, Connecticut, the Connecticut SHRM Council, the Connecticut Association of Nonprofits and the Connecticut Nonprofit Alliance, perhaps the Connecticut Bar Association to do some training on labor and employment law, Hartford Business Journal, and the Connecticut HR Council. Again, very preliminary list of partnerships that we were brainstorming. Just to give you an idea of some topics that we thought would be relevant and important to cover. The foundations of leave management in Connecticut. So again, paid leave, FMLA, paid sick leave, federal FMLA, and some of those other related laws, talking about trends and updates and how the laws intersect and differ. Of course, doing a deep dive into the paid leave program and all the different elements that are important for employers to know. Legal perspectives on leave management, which might include a discussion on best practices and maybe a Q&A on some particularly challenging areas to help folks navigate them. Practical implementation and compliance strategies, things like how to make sure that you have a good policy in place, what kind of updates should you have for your employee handbook, documentation, record keeping, and then lastly, supporting employees with compassion and compliance. So, managing return to work scenarios. What can you do when someone is going on leave to sort of minimize the disruption to the rest of your staff, right? How can you align your leave management practices with your organizational culture? How can you make sure that your employees who are going on leave feel supported and that your employees who are, picking up some of the extra work while those folks are away also feel supported? In terms of a budget, as I mentioned, we looked at 4 different venues. The one that we are suggesting, the Courtyard in Cromwell, was the most cost effective, and the total for the venue rental, which includes not only the rental fee but food and beverage, this venue can accommodate up to 150 attendees. The AV equipment, the service fee, all in is just over $6,000. We also would like to explore some ideas to offset costs. So for example, if we can obtain that permission to provide SHRM credits, we then may have an avenue to charge a small attendance fee for folks to come to the conference. We also can explore the idea of securing gifts to the state from some potential partners, which might help underwrite the cost of the event. We do think that this year it would be worthwhile for us in our budgeting to develop a line item for marketing support for our Connecticut Paid Leave owned events. So the Family Expo and this event, if we do move forward with it. And so that is something that we're working through and that will be included in the overall outreach budget, which will be, of course, presented to the board for their discussion and approval as we get more into the spring. So I want to open it up for questions. I do want to just acknowledge I saw Nicole joined us, and Nicole has really been heading up this effort and has done a tremendous amount of work thus far to get all the necessary details together to bring this idea to you. So if you have any questions, Nicole and I would be happy to answer them.
I don't have a question, but I have a comment. This is an excellent idea. It's timely. I know that I have dealt with many of these issues with the continued confusion about what FMLA and paid family leave, and the FMLA isn't paying you anything, and how long that job guarantee is even good for, and what that length of time is. Still a lot of confusion about. So I think it's an excellent idea.
Thank you, Adrian.
100% agree with Adrian. The one suggestion I do have is one of your guest speakers might consider talking about the connection to the collective bargaining agreement with unions and the possibility of adding into that collective bargaining agreement for those employers who do have unionized membership practices for paid leave or foregoing paid leave. So there might be a window there to just mention it. I don't think it has to be a whole hour conversation, but at least employers being aware that they could negotiate terms within their collective bargaining agreement.
Thank you.
Molly?
And let us know how we can advertise it.
Thank you. Yeah, I think this is super smart and super timely. I also think it's valuable both in what it's providing, and it's another opportunity to lift up the authority as a resource to employers that is here to help, that is here to help you navigate these things. Like, you are not out on your own. I think that adds additional value. I'll also say, if it is possible to get the, I forget what the SHRM continuing education credits are called, the impact that will have on attendance is ridiculous. Even if it adds a cost, like, that will have a huge impact. That will be very positive in terms of getting HR professionals there who need those continuing education credits. Um, so I think that's really, really smart, to be seeking that out, and I think will be really valuable. It also strikes me that, I think probably as like a separate thing from this event, it seems like probably if you've done all the work to put this together, particularly if you're coordinating with the State Bar Association, you've probably already done 75% of the work to do a CLE. Which seems like it would be a natural companion and would help you get, including particularly if you did one that was designed for both employer and employee side folks, especially because you already have an experienced attorney who could help you lead it.
I was talking with Heidi Lane about that. Um, and so I think we may have an opportunity. Connecticut's CLE rules are less stringent than some of the other states, so I think it does look likely that we could assert that this gives CLE credits, which would get us the lawyers in the room as well.
Great.
I would also say it would probably be worth also looking into how hard it would be to get it double qualified for New York CLE credits.
Good idea.
There are a bunch of lawyers who practice in both. And you're covering a lot of federal law anyway. Like, there's a lot of stuff that would be relevant. Like, I think that's a legitimate thing, and that might help you with folks. Also, can you tell I'm working on finishing my CLE credits right now, so it is top of mind for me. But I think that's really smart, especially when you've already done the upfront investment of the time, and all the pieces. But I think this is fantastic, and I'm excited to see this new idea. And I particularly love the complementarity of doing this and the Family Expo as two different but valuable kinds of constituencies, each getting things that are targeted to them and what they need. So I think it's really excellent.
Great.
Any more comments or questions?
I just wanted to share that we appreciate your feedback. If you have any other suggestions for us for topics or areas, we will be bringing this to the full board since it's a new initiative that does have a cost. So if you have other thoughts and suggestions before we bring it to the board in February, let us know. Also, I apologize. I'm going to drop because I am working with DOL on a webinar, and I should go over and sign in so that they don't freak out and wonder where I am. So thank you all, and I apologize for dropping early, but have a good day.
Thank you, Karen. Anybody else, any questions or comments here for Jessica or any of the subject matter that was already reviewed? Thank you, Jessica. Very exciting to hear more and see how that progresses. And I think from this committee, it seems that we're pretty much on board of supporting this initiative. So hopefully the board agrees.
It's not an unreasonable cost either.
The minimum.
Thank you all so much, and we're super excited about it too. So we'll continue to keep you updated as we develop more.
Great. Any old business here? Okay, any additional new business? With that, then a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Molly. Second.
Second.
I have a second.
I'll
Thank
second.
you, Justin. Oh, Adrian.
That's okay.
That's a second.
That's a second. Thank you all in favor for adjourning this meeting. Say yes or aye.
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 Thank you. Have a great, wonderful rest of your day, and see you hopefully else.
Enjoy your vacation,
Thank
Eva.
you.
Thank
Enjoy.
you.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.